Call on Janet Finch-Saunders to move the motion. Janet Finch-Saunders.
And I move the motion in the name of Paul Davis AM. The recent announcement of the Green Paper by the Cabinet Secretary on the 20th of March without any prior discussions with us as AMs is the third attempt by this Welsh Labour Government to reform the structure of local government in Wales. Now, one would have thought, as a result of two previous failed attempts to bring forward legislation to future-proof our local authorities, that this attempt would have been done so in a more strategic, considerate and engaging manner. Despite previous rhetoric about wanting to work in a respectful manner with local authorities, members and AMs, the proposals going forward actually show a distinct lack of acknowledgement of the effect that this top-down diktat has on those working within the sector. How disappointing also that the promises by the previous Cabinet Secretary, Mark Drakeford AM, who did engage with us actually, in offering up a regional form of working and assuring councils of a 10-year stable platform from which to take forward reform, have simply been rubbished by such an heavy-handed and dictatorial approach. The WLGA have raised concerns, accusing you, Cabinet Secretary, in their words, of recycling failed plans through a continuance of top-down politics towards local authorities that we saw fail in the Fourth Assembly under the previous proposals for forced mergers. Your intent to use statutory frameworks to force mergers through is an insult to those in this sector who have more than jumped through enough hoops to satisfy the Welsh Labour Government over the past 20 years on your watch. The WLGA and others have stated that most academic analysis concludes that such reform programmes rarely deliver the savings or changes in performance that were hoped for. When scrutinised on these proposals, you clearly stated that you have engaged and consulted with the sector. However, I know from my own visits to local authorities across the political divide and through talking to many elected members that they were as surprised as we by such a bullish approach in announcing these disruptive and counterproductive plans. Councillor Thomas, leader of Vale of Glamorgan, categorically stated that typically there has been no meaningful discussion or engagement with councils, or more importantly, the local residents that will be affected ahead of these plans being published. A Wrexham councillor has also termed the proposed merger with Flintshire an expensive disaster waiting to happen, whilst the council's independent leader described the ongoing debate as a cross between Fawlty Towers, Some Mothers Do Have 'Em, and Yes Minister. And the Welsh Local Government Association stated to the ELGC committee during the previous proposals for forced mergers that it would be impossible for authorities to meet merger proposal costs without significant cuts to frontline services. Without a joined-up strategic and professional approach, yet another set of proposals for forced mergers, lacking in any cost-benefit or risk analysis, are destined to fail. Now, this ham-fisted top-down approach from here is not the way forward. In a business setting, reform would start and it would finish by being led from within the very sector that one is looking to reform. Incidentally, in this instance, a sector for which I have a tremendous amount of confidence and respect. As the leader of the WLGA, Councillor Debbie Wilcox, said, we didn't need Welsh Government to mandate us to work regionally. We just got on with it because we recognised it was in the interests of the people and the communities we serve. Indeed, Councillor Peter Fox has said, councils in South East Wales have been working hard towards the last recommendations from the Welsh Government, which asked us to work collaboratively on regional footprints. And what a splendid example. The Cardiff Capital Region City deal, 10 local authorities all working together across the political divide to improve the economic prosperity of the region. Brilliantly epitomised by the leader... Oh, yes, go on.
Also, exactly the same is being done in the Swansea City region.
Brilliantly epitomised by the leader of Cardiff Council, Hugh Thomas, when he said we would have had concerns about any processes of a reorganisation or a renationalisation which distracted us from our delivery agenda. Time and time again, we have seen bullish and defiant responses from you, Cabinet Secretary, in scrutiny here, and during a meeting with the WLGA in stating that opposition to your proposals made good television but not good politics. Do you not realise that you are playing with the hearts and minds of the very people who deliver such vital services to our most vulnerable, to our children and all of our residents on a daily basis, 24 hours, 365. There is no doubt that all of us within this chamber are seeking to improve our public service delivery across Wales, with many believing, though, that this is a bigger mandate than local government alone. If we go back to the Williams Commission's original report, solid recommendations for public service reform was in its entirety. The Green Paper mentions the delivery of the Future Generations Act through local government reform, but this cannot be done alone. Speak to any experienced and honest broker working within the public sector across the length and breadth of Wales, and they will tell you Wales does not need another set of local government proposals. What Wales fundamentally needs, however, is a thorough review of our whole public services sector. Now, we know that to fulfil our obligations under the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, we must ensure better working between local authorities, health, social services, education and housing. Cabinet Secretary, why are you not being more radical here? Why are you not seeking a whole-scale reform of public services in Wales? And why are you not opening this up to a much wider debate? How will you bring this to your Cabinet Secretary colleagues around the table to ensure that this is actually taken forward in a uniformed and joined-up manner? Time is running out, Cabinet Secretary, for this government, your Welsh Labour government, to future-proof our public services across Wales. Now, you are in a privileged position with the population of Wales depending on this Welsh Government to get it right this time. You have the levers, you have the power, you have the resources to achieve a fundamental ambition, a fundamental reform of our public services across Wales. Working with them, not against them, working throughout all those sectors, as I have mentioned. You cannot do this alone. You cannot take local government reform forward alone. It has to be far more strategically planned than this. I've got to be honest with you. It's not a phrase I like, but this is fag packet proposals, written on the back of a fag packet proposals that you are intending to put forward. It's a fundamental betrayal of all those who work in our public services across Wales. They're all hungry, they're all anxious, they're all keen to work with you to actually see a radical reform of our public services going forward, and that will sustain us for years to come. I would say these proposals are a lazy ambition once again, and I sincerely urge you now to go back to the drawing board, speak to your colleagues in Welsh Government, and please bring back some strategically well-planned, costed proposals for a total and radical public service reform. With a model worthy of any government in Wales, maybe then, and only then, we will get behind you on such a mission. Thank you.
I have selected the 4 amendments to the motion. If Amendment 1 is agreed, Amendments 2 and 3 will be deselected. And I call on the Cabinet Secretary for